In this lesson, I want to talk about how to take a very typical chord progression and create a more interesting guitar part out of it. So it's kind of a songwriting lesson, if you will. So we're going to take you've probably seen this chord progression many times, G to a D to an E minor to a C. So pretty standard, pretty stock chord progression. So when we run across something like that, or we're writing our own music, you might say to yourself, how can I make this a more recognizable guitar part, or just a little more interesting, a little more intricate, some more detail? So one of the first things we can do is add some arpeggiation. So we take our G, you could do a simple, like a strum on the first, on the downbeat, and then I'm just arpeggiating from the E string up to the D string. Do the same thing on D, same thing on E minor, C. So a little more interesting there. Let's take it a step further and try to find a note. This is a really common technique in country and pop music. Let's try to find a note that can be a connective thread amongst all four chords. And in the key of G, this is pretty easy to do with the D note right here with your third finger. So we're going to play the G. Instead of playing a regular G like this, we're going to double up the D by playing the third fret of the B string with our third finger and the third fret of the high E string with our pinky. Okay, so we're going to strum that. Still do our little arpeggiation. We go to the D. Same thing. Now when we go to the E minor, let's leave our third finger there and make it an E minor 7. So we still have that note. And then when we go to the C, let's make it a C add 9 and leave that there. So instead of playing the first fret on the B string, it's going to be the third fret on the B string. So we'll do 3, 2, and the rest of the strings are open. Okay, so we have G, D, E minor 7 now, and then your C add 9. E minor 7. Starting to sound a little more interesting. Now, what can we add? What else can we add? We could add some little melodic lines in there, some like little fills, little licks. We could do a little hammer on the D as part of our arpeggio. So I'm starting with the open E, hammering down the second fret. So we have go to our E minor 7 and then the C. So a little more interesting. Okay. Now on the G, we could do like a little lick. Like a little, using notes out of G pentatonic major. You know, like a little, that little slide up with the B and the E string instead of the arpeggio. And then you can start to mix up your arpeggiation with your strumming. You know, and then you can just throw that little lick in anywhere you want to create a little more color to it. So just some ideas on how you can take a simple stock house standard chord progression and make it a little more interesting. So kind of for your homework, if you want, come up with a little 3-4 chord progression in any key and see if you can come up with some ideas to make it more interesting.